I told you all I'd have a drawing this week, but when I started measuring this engine and the generator, I thought, you know what, I really better make sure this engine starts and runs before I make a drawing based around this engine. So, I'm going to check it over and see if I can get her started today. Hopefully. I've already removed quite a bit of the electrical of this thing, and some of the electrical had previously been removed by the previous owner's dog. So anyway, first thing I'm going to do is see if the thing even spins by hand. Yep. Spins pretty easy, actually. I kind of thought there'd be a little more resistance than that to it. Not a good sign. There is water in the carburetor. A little bit of gas in there, but mostly water. So I'll pull out this little bolt out of this bowl down here and see how much drains. Well, that's exciting. Let's hoping to drip out a little faster than that. Can't get you at the right height to film down here either. Well, there we go. Yucko. Grosso. Yummy-o. Sweet-o. Alright. I was checking to make sure the gas was on, and I realized this engine actually has a fuel pump on it. So that's interesting. That'll be kind of nice. Then I won't have to worry about where to mount the fuel tank on this thing. Not like it'd be a big deal anyway to have it gravity fed, but that's handy. Well, I touched it. I'm just going to unhook the gas line on here and drain it into a pan. And as soon as I touched it, it started dripping supposedly gas everywhere. I don't know how much that's gas and how much that's water, but so I don't know if that's coming out of the fuel hose or out of the fuel line. We'll see, I guess. So I think this rubber here has disintegrated in the bottom of the tank. I'm guessing. It's kind of a crappy little hookup system there to the tank. Yep, definitely leaking around the fitting here. Tried taking this hose off to drain the tank, and this whole fitting just popped out of there. You can see it split. But I'm out of time for the day, so we'll work on this another day. Toolbox casters are working great. I love being able to move that thing around. Looks like I might have to do some voiceover work today. Dad's out mowing the lawn. I don't know, do you call it a lawn when it's around a shop and a barn and several outbuildings, or you call it the yard? Whatever it is. Finally had rain last week, enough to make the weeds grow again. Oh, I gotta get a pan. Well, while I was grabbing my pan, I was thinking that I really need some feedback on this series. You know, the trebuchet has built something every week, and this, you know, like right now I'm working on the engine, doing stuff like that. I don't know what to show, what you guys want to see, so if it's too slow, be sure to tell me. You know, if you need to see more, be sure to tell me. Really like the feedback. It's how I built my channel, is by you all telling me what to do. Of course, you know, prefer that you do it nicely. And most of you have been. My 10 is broken. I'll go find another 10. Actually, you know what? I don't need another 10. I use vice grips. Anyway, that's how you remove a stud. There we go. Rotate. Alright, there's one seriously dirty carburetor. Awesome. Yeah, I think we might have problems. If I can accidentally hold that flashlight still enough for you there. I thought this compression was a little weak. Oh, there it goes. Maybe I didn't turn it around last time. Well, it's not seating though. I don't know if you saw that or not, but there was a bunch of water just blew back in. I swear it didn't even move last time. Hey, look, fuel pump's working. All right. There might be hope yet. Really hope you saw some of that. Always be gentle when removing your spark plug wire. Give it a little bit of a twist. And make sure if you do use pliers like this, don't squeeze real hard, just enough to grip it. I don't know. You guys want me telling you stuff like that as I go along, or you want me to just shut up and work? Is that not the right wrench? Not the right socket. Here's another piece of advice if you want it. When you use a spark plug socket, use another socket that goes over that hex. It'll really help it from twisting. And if you got room, I really recommend an extension long enough that you can put your hand around. You can see that very well. Well, that socket's not going to grab on it anyway. But using a socket on this hex part allows it to flex a little bit more and allow for misalignment. I'm sure it turned the spark plug and all that. There we go. Oh yeah, yummy. Look at all that on top. Oh yeah, that is great. Not a good sign. Yeah, I don't think I'll be using this muffler. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Feels like it's full of crap. Give her a few shots of oil in there if I can, down the spark plug. Lots of oil maybe. Now I'm going to go in for lunch. I'll let that sit in there. I'm going to get in there with the air compressor. Well, not really with the air compressor. The air nozzle. Blow a lot of this oil and water and stuff out of there and really do some work. So I think I'm going to shut off the camera because I don't want a chance getting it all over the camera. So, you know, shut off the camera and move it clear away from here. So I'll do some work, and then I'm going to put some jumper cables from a battery to the starter and spin it over for quite a while with just the starter with you know, all this stuff unhooked like this. Make sure I'm getting oil out of it, not water in it anymore. That intake valve was definitely stuck because now it has compression. There, nice and easy. And then, oh yeah, there we go. I can hear it pop too when it goes. So yeah, it's turning over a lot harder, and it sounds good when I run it by the starter now too. So, it was not a figment of my imagination that that intake valve was not moving when I first turned it over. So good, we got that working. I don't think I'm going to tear it down any further then. I'm just going to see if I can get her to run at this point. Well, sometimes I'm not the brightest pair of scissors in the box. I was thinking that the valve was stuck and, you know, putting the oil in there and letting it set and doing that freed it up, which is still a possibility. It did. It might have been stuck just ever so slightly. But then I was looking and I was like, oh yeah, it has an oil filter. And by the mounting location here, it definitely has an oil pump. So it's definitely a pressurized system. And then I saw this sticker here that, for some reason, I had ignored. Hydraulic valve lifters. So yeah, probably spinning it by hand. I hadn't got the oil up to the lifters since, you know, it's been sitting there for, I think it's been about 2 years now that I've had this engine sitting there. So spinning it by the starter, it finally probably filled the lifters back up with oil, and now they're working. Never even thought about an engine like this having hydraulic lifters on it. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is testing the spark. So I have the spark plug back out of there. Well, maybe I can find a spot where I can put the spark plug and see it while I crank the engine. No good places to ground on this thing. That's a spark. Hopefully that showed up in the camera. I give her just a little more shot of gas. So I'm going to blow myself up here. Oh yeah, it's working. Apparently it just takes more gas than you think. Without the carburetor on there, definitely not getting the right mix. Oh yeah. She's alive! I'm going to go ahead and throw out another tip here real quick. If you've had an engine that's been sitting around for a couple years and you can't get it to start, it acts like it's not getting gas, especially nowadays with this alcohol gas, in the bottom of your carb here, there's a little jet in this aluminum riser here. Carb sits this way, you know, so this is the top, my thumb is the bottom, this is the float. First thing to do is make sure this float is working. There's a little valve in under there. I can hardly see it on this one. There's a little valve down in there. It goes up and down with the float. Make sure that the gas is coming out of that when the float is down. So when the float's hanging there, there should be gas dripping out of that little valve right in there. Then make sure this little jet down in here is open. Usually this jet in that little housing plugs up with this algae looking stuff. I assume it has something to do with the alcohol, but I've actually had to do it even just with a lawnmower set over winter. Take it all apart and get that jet cleaned out. Sometimes you can get it by just taking the air nozzle with compressed air and blowing in there. You know, just blow it in this way and it'll blow all the crap back out at you. So make sure your face isn't, you know, over that. You want to fill your eyes full. But sometimes you got to take that jet out and make sure it is open and working. I'm having a hard time looking in there on this carburetor right now, but it appears to be open. Let's see here. I can do this on camera. But if you take your air nozzle and plug it off, yeah, it's working. I can feel air coming out the main passageway up here. And make sure your intake is open a little bit too. That will come out here. So if you blow in there, see, you see the float come up? Push that down, that's closed, put a little air in there. Don't get crazy with blowing that in there, just barely pull the trigger. And poop! So yeah, that's open. Okay, so I think the carburetor is clean. Put this all back together and stick it on there and should be good to go. Pretty excited about this. I was really worried that the engine was not going to be good after sitting outside for a couple years. Thought of one more thing here while I'm assembling this. Whenever you put a steel bolt, which I'm not sure if there's too many other kinds of bolts out there, into an aluminum housing, always use anti-seize. You will regret it if you don't. A little goes a long ways. And, oh, there we go. Not much. Ooh, that's way too much actually. Dang it, I can't get it back off there. Well, anyway. So yeah, anti-seize. Whenever you screw a steel bolt into aluminum? I don't know. Which side of the pond am I on? Okay. I'm going to give this thing a test fire. And unlike the Elmo doll, I will not give it 2 test tickles. Yeah, I suppose I need the battery hooked up. Oh, you know what? Better put a slosh of gas in the carb just to kind of prime her a little. Alright. See if this thing blows up and I get it on camera. I don't like that click. Is that the hydraulic lifter? Not primed yet, huh? Yeah. That fuel pump was really full of water and rust and crap. I had a hard time getting it to prime earlier. I'm just going to bet dollars to donuts it is not lifting it that far. I don't know. That jug was a lot less than what I started out as. Yeah, now that I can't hear. She's working. I'm still not sure that fuel pump's working 100%. Carb still might have some junk in it that I missed. But this proves, well, I won't say it proves. It almost proves that I have a functioning engine.
So I was really worried this engine was not going to work after all this. I'm going to tinker around with it some more off camera. I think next week I'm going to tear the generator head off the other engine I have sitting out there. I don't know. Don't believe anything I say about what I plan to do next week, because I thought I'd have a drawing for you, and then I decided to get this engine going first. But my current thinking is to get this engine running, which I did, and then get the generator head off the other blown up engine. And once I have that done, then I'll start doing some drawing.